I said, I was sharing this with one of a doctor in my life. I was in for a regular checkup the other day, and he brought it up. He said, what's going on? And I shared with him what I'm getting ready to share with your audience. He stopped what he was doing. He was wearing a mask, and he pulled the mask down and he looked at me and he said, I have chill bumps all over my body. He said, I've never thought of it this way. He said, this is astounding. We're living in the last days. I said, yeah, you just got it. Your eyes just opened. Let me tell you what I told him. I said, when we turned the corner into 2020, we were faced with COVID-19. All right. COVID-19 is a real disease. It's an upper respiratory virus. It's real. The deaths are real. It's all a shame. The demographics are the elderly people mainly, or people whose immune systems are compromised. And we've got a lot of that in America now due to various lifestyles and abuse, et cetera, chemical abuse. And so it sweeps through a lot of people, and it's sad. But it's an upper respiratory virus. It's not the Black Death. It's not the Black Plague. And those of us that had any sense at all, we knew this. We knew it was going to be tough, and we would have to tough through it as a nation. But instead, evil people, wicked people, began to communicate with each other. I think it was demonic. I mean, it was spiritual. It's the spirit of Antichrist, the spirit of lawlessness, the spirit of rebellion, the spirit. When you say Antichrist, that means anti-God, anti-church, anti-people of God, anti-gospel. That spirit is pervasive now all over the globe. Watch this. For the first time in history. How is that? Because we're the first generation to see instantaneous communication information systems. This spirit of Antichrist and rebellion and lawlessness and wickedness, it has been on the globe since the flood and afterwards. But it's been in pockets. It's been in certain countries, certain areas. That's why the United States of America grew to be so great and cherished and loved by the world. People wanted to come here. They would break our borders down by the millions to get here. Why? Because we were a shining light, the largest Christian nation on the planet with freedoms and wealth and prosperity and opportunity to do something with your life. Most of the rest of the world doesn't live like this. To this day, they don't live like we live. Even under all of our oppression, they still don't live like we live. So the bottom line is we're now living in a different age. We're 72 years the other side of the return of Israel, just a few years the other side of Jerusalem being declared as the capital, 2,800-year-old prophecies that have burst forth in only our lifetime. Then we turn the corner to 2020. Now, this is what I told my doctor. I said, I want you to think about this. As soon as we went to bed one night thinking, okay, we got this disease, this is bad, we're reading the headlines, but we're going on with life. We woke up and almost overnight, all over the world, everything changed. Everything changed. I had been saying for several years before that I felt something that's getting ready to snap. I've said that on the Jim Bakker show when he's asked me, what do you think? What do you see coming? I said, I don't know, but something's getting ready to snap. Something's going to happen that's going to change the world. It's going to give a whole different view to how we're living. And it happened. And I'm not claiming I was a prophet. I'm just saying I could feel it coming. So one night we went to bed. The next day we got up and we get orders from governors, from CDC, from county commissions, city councilmen in various areas. Close the businesses, get in your homes. Oh, by the way, let prisoners out. Oh, by the way, keep liquor stores and big box stores open, but shut those churches and don't you sing and we'll put you in jail. And they did put pastors in jail. I mean, I can give names. You probably know the names. It was horrible. Social media became a flame with Christian attacking Christian. Oh, your church is open. You're killers. My church never closed. We'll talk about that later. But we got trashed and maligned by other Christians. What did Jesus say about the last days? Brother would turn against brother, sister against sister. They would turn each other into the authorities in those days. It's happening, guys. It's happening. But I told my doctor, I said, but here's the biggest things, the 3 or 4 things that were the biggest to me. Once all of that started, that snapping happened, watch this. For the first time since the birth of the church, 2,000 years, guys, over 2,000 years, on Resurrection Sunday, you couldn't find a church to go to. To congregate in. Oh, there were exceptions. But I'm talking about all over the globe. Governments shut down churches because churches were killing fields. Listen, I've got another book coming out very soon, and I've documented everything I'm saying. All over the world, governments were shutting down churches, and they were blaming Christians for spreading the disease. In the Middle East, the Muslims were blaming Christians. All over Europe, they were blaming Christians. On the continent of Africa, they were blaming Christians. In the United States, the media, it's like everybody was speaking the same message. This is demonic, guys. This is the spirit of Antichrist. So the first Resurrection Sunday in the history of the planet, in the history of the birth of the churches were shut down. Now think about what Resurrection Sunday is. It is the day Satan was told in front of the whole demonic realm, you have lost. Your kingdom is defeated. Jesus rose from the grave, showing himself that this was God who had put on flesh, who had come to defeat the kingdom of Satan. Okay, 2020, Satan knows something's going on. Listen, Revelation 12, verse 12 says it like this: Woe unto you, earth, for Satan has been thrown down to you. He's filled with rage because he knows. What does he know? He knows his time is short. What's special about 2020 that this is the year that he, through an unseen virus, we can't see it with our naked eye, but everybody's terrified of it. They were so afraid of death that they quit living. They refused to live. They hid in their homes, and they shuttered their churches, and they closed their pulpits, and they put on masks, and they just, it was horrific. It still is. We're still living in it. And so Resurrection Sunday is shut down. That's the day Jesus basically did this to Satan. And so in 2020, Satan did this to the church. All right? 50 days later was Pentecost Sunday. What is that? It's the celebration of the birth of the church. And by the way, the Orthodox Jews use it to celebrate the birth of Israel. The two institutions of God's witness, the olive tree and the lampstand, and I know that could be two men as well, but the Bible says, Romans 11, Zechariah 4, the olive tree is Israel, that the oil flows out of, through which the lampstand is born, the church, the gospel. That's Zechariah 4. Romans 11, Israel's called the olive tree. We're grafted in or not, or we're cut off depending upon our faith in Jesus. The olive tree is Israel, and particularly the returned Israel of the last days, where God said, when I do this, I will do it to show the nations that I am God. And the inference to most of those prophecies is when you see Israel come back, you're in the last days. Well, it's 72 years, and look where we are in 2020. So, and then, of course, we know the church was born. And so churches weren't open again. Oh, some were, but they were under heavy restrictions. But by and large, most of the church doors all over the world were closed for the two most important feasts of the Lord on the other side of Passover, unleavened bread, and first fruits, which was all about the death, burial, crucifixion, burial, resurrection of Jesus. But after that comes the Feast of Pentecost, the birth of the church. For the first time in history, Resurrection Sunday is closed. Birth of the church is closed. Now watch, guys. You know what else was shut down? You can't sing. All over the world this happened. The whole nation of Germany forbid their churches to sing under penalty of law. Several states in our nation have issued orders. You cannot sing. You cannot sing. Now you can go riot. You can go riot. Listen, on Independence Day, July 4th, 2 days before, let me tell you what happened in California. On July the 3rd, the governor issued a decree that if I'm allowing you to go back to church, but only 10% capacity, you have to wear masks, you have to social distance, and you cannot sing. Why? Because it's dangerous. It's dangerous for Christians to be in church singing songs to Jesus. You could kill us all by doing that. You know what the headlines of the Los Angeles Times was one day before, on July the 2nd? There is no COVID among the protesters. The protesters are clean from COVID. In other words, you can protest, you can riot, you can gather by the tens of thousands, you can shout, spit, scream, you can set fires, you can attack cops, and you're protected from COVID. I mean, they didn't say protected, but that's the message. But if you go to church, even if 10% of you go and sing about Jesus, you're taking a chance of killing us all. Guys, Rome is on fire and the Christians are being blamed.